Joining us now is France 24's Valerie DeKemp. Hi, Valerie.
Hi.
So we're down to the wire. Leaders are behind closed doors reviewing this draft. Where do we stand?
So we heard in that report just now that there are relatively few changes in the draft, and I think that means that countries are narrowing down on the most contested issues. And one of them, of course, being this ratchet mechanism that means that countries will need to come back to the next COP in 2022 with new updated climate plans and CO2 reduction targets. That is still in the text, and we know that China was opposed to this, and now we understand that China has finally agreed to having this ratchet mechanism for 2022 in the draft and bring forward that date. So we know that China has moved on its previous stance. On fossil fuels and coal, we also know that Australia, Russia, and Saudi Arabia have agreed to the paragraph referring to phasing out fossil fuel subsidies and coal. And this is also very positive, as some might even say that this is a breakthrough. Many thought that this mention would have been removed by now, but it's still in the text. The language was softened in the draft. Now it says that countries need to accelerate their efforts to phase out of fossil fuels and coal, as opposed to just a straight call for getting closer to an end to fossil fuels. And that was probably the price to pay to have this in this draft. And as a reminder, of course, no COP final document has ever mentioned fossil fuels. So this is something to keep in mind. On climate finance and loss and damages, this is the most bitterly fought item of the negotiations, and countries have taken a step backwards and also a step forward. So a step backwards because the proposal that was made by the G77 countries plus China, a total of 134 countries, keeps getting blocked. It's no longer in the draft that countries are asking for a special mechanism, funding mechanism to recover from climate disasters, but a step forward because now the draft mentions funds as opposed to just technical assistance. So that is a step forward. It is only a small change, but for developing countries, this is a red line. Developing countries representing 85% of the world's population. For them, it's a matter of survival. It's their moral right to have access to this funds. For rich countries, this is just the start of something bigger, and they're worried that they were going to be getting more and more requests by countries to actually have this money for climate disasters. And we know that the U.S. and the EU are pushing very hard against this.
Well, so as we learn more and more about how this agreement may end up, what's the reaction been?
We've been getting mixed reactions, some more positive, others more negative. It all depends on where you stand on these different issues. To the more neutral climate observers, they have welcomed the draft. They say that there are signs that progress is being made, that this is a balanced text. For scientists, however, they say that despite any progress being made on these issues, we're not on track to limit global warming to 1.5 degrees of warming. For NGOs and civil society, we also get mixed reactions. But what's important to note is that there's a real sense of shock and fury by developing countries that they are not getting the loss and damage funding facility. We are getting very strong reactions. Climate Action Network, for example, describing the draft as a clear betrayal by rich countries. Some have not hesitated to really confront COP26 President Alok Sharma, saying that the UK was complicit in this, in allowing the US and the EU to continuously block this notion, and that the UK was not reliable during the talks. The head of a think tank saying that COP26 presidency has been bullied into having this blocked.
Okay, France 24's Valerie DeKemp. We'll keep following this and see what happens as the hours go on. Thanks a lot, Valerie. Well, another